Hey, if you hadn't got the hint yet, Raven quite likes Firebat.
I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Who isn't, to be honest? Come on.
It's true.
Firebat.
He is a wonderful guy, and we are very lucky as a community to have Firebat being a part for it. He is a definite force for good in the Hearthstone community. What I will say is that his endeavors to be, an entertainer now, a content creator, he's looking into tournament organization as well, I believe, following up on the Batstone series that had great success last year. He was on not having the greatest preparation last night for this tournament, as he was featured on the Streamer Showdown show with with Trump and Disguised Toast. And not only was he on that show and not practicing with any of these decks like maybe he should have been, he also got absolutely demolished.
Oh, really?
Yes.
In points or in drinks?
No, in points.
Okay, because that's what I was worried about.
I think he finished sub 2,000 and Toast ended with like 8,000 or 9,000 or something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, getting into this game is Tyler on the Quest Rogue, and that is a patch as I saw off the top there, so definitely not going to be good. Biofin going to be on the draw as well. Carver, I'm getting more and more impressed with the more I see it played, whereas it looks like Firebat is rocking the Paladin. Everyone is rocking at the moment.
Yeah.
No denials in terms of the power of this deck.
Oh, hey.
Biofin on one is absolutely great in this matchup specifically.
Firebat lets out a little giggle. It's like, hey, I drew my 1-drop on one. Seems good. That's extra powerful due to the fact they had the option of Coin War Leader or Rockpool Hunter on the follow-up. And with double 6 drops in hand, there might be an argument to just following the natural curve here and preserving your coin to accelerate one of those powerful plays later on. But War Leader on the board, as I mentioned, there are limited answers in Rogue these days. A lot of them are cutting those early game removals just to be more consistent with the minions, which means a War Leader hitting the board early can potentially just represent a lot of damage being pushed.
Well, we had the opener from Colento that did this, right?
Exactly.
It was Coin War Leader into Rockpool as well. So I think
no, it was Hydro. It was Coin War Leader into Hydro.
Okay, that fits better because of the secret you play on 3.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's going to hold on to the coin, as you mentioned. There's the 6 drops available. War Leader just curves out nicely and still asks plenty of questions to Tyler on the Rogue and Team Netherlands as a whole as well.
Glacial Shard, again, we've talked about this before, is a decent option to be bouncing repeatedly against a deck that's trying to pressure you out. Normally, that's only successful. Glacial Shard is only delaying the inevitable to an extent. It's not really helping you solve any problems. It's just, putting them on the later base, if you like. So it's usually only really successful when it gets combined with Vanish later in the game. So, you stall for a couple of turns, you bounce Glacial Shard a couple of times to get up to 3, potentially on your quest, and then 1 more Glacial Shard and a Vanish. That finishes the quest for you, and you wipe the board that you've been stalling for the past 2 or 3 turns. So, with no such thing in hand yet for Tyler, he's going to have to consider exactly how he wants to be committing to this board, and it does look like the Glacial Shard line is what's going to get activated here. There is bounce number 1, shard number 1 been played, shard number 2 now sitting in hand, awaiting additional bounce effects.
Yeah, this preemptive trade into the rock pool is going to be met with a bit of frustration, as War Leader is the perfect answer to trade back in and just cause extra damage to the Rogue if Tyler wants to trade going forward. There's another Glacial Shard, but no bounces available now, so this is a bit of a nightmare depending on what comes off this Swashbuckler.
Ooh. Yeah, not great. The preemptive poke, though, actually still plays around War Leader to an extent, because now at least he can take the 4-1 off the board, whereas if he didn't make that attack and War Leader came down, he would have nothing to do this turn.
Although Peacekeeper, the only available play for Firebat coming up, but is this a turn you have to Biofin for Tyler? Just to try and stall? It's kind of rough. He's kind of already committed to the Glacial Shard with the first bounce there.
Yeah, there's a good chance if you go Biofin here that the 1-1 taunt just tanks at least 3 damage. You can also just choose to commit patches here and just accept the fact that you are taking a very early beating. Go, Biofin, Tidehunter, and patches into the 4-1 just to preserve yourself that 4 life. It's a massive resource that you give up throwing away a patches like that. So I definitely like this greedy play from Tyler, if you like, just to take the face damage, hold on to that patches, trying to activate the quest later and charge it out as a 5-5.
Yeah, another Spike Ridge Steed, not really what he's after here in terms of Team USA. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Just dump down the Peacekeeper. Biofin's probably not going to be bounced.
Yeah.
It could be, but it might not be. And this just creates a stronger board overall.
Yeah, Peacekeeper is one of the few things that can actually interact with the 5-5s after they become 5-5s. It does work, neutralize them to a 1-5. A lot of people maybe quite rightly a little bit confused about the things that work and the things that don't against Quest Rogue. But if you just think it's a board aura, but it's a kind of unique board aura because it exists on kind of the bottom layer of how things are affected in Hearthstone. If you think of board auras like Murloc War Leader, for example, or Raid Leader, those are applied on the top layer. So if you Outdoor Peacekeeper something that's got a Raid Leader next to it, it's still going to get the buff applied afterwards because that buff applies on the very top level, the highest priority of the game. Whereas this board aura, it still exists, it can't be silenced, it still persists if you hex the minion, turns into a 5/5, but other buffs and nerfs, debuffs, go over the top of it because it has low priority.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, I mean, made sense to me, but I already knew. So, it's a difficult one
you
to
already
get
know
some
because I've
feedback on.
told you before.
Because I knew how it worked.
Okay.
Those were the questions we were asking directly to Team 5 members as well when we saw the quest.
That's true, yeah.
We were asking like so Van Cleef,
yeah,
how does this work?
We had lunch with Puffin in the Bahamas on basically the day the Quest Rogue got announced. So literally our lunch consisted of us asking every single question under the sun and Puffin going, well, I think it works like this, but I wasn't actually responsible for putting that card
He was new on the team as well, right?
Yeah.
But back to this game for Tyler here. Double prep is actually, preps are like some of the true scary cards in this deck, but Tyler's mum knocking her out. It is great when she comes on the stream.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, preps are distracted now, Tyler. Preps are actually super powerful in the Quest Rogue deck due to the actual proccing the quest itself, and also just proccing a cheap Vanish like we've seen earlier. But most importantly, I wish you could just see the weird stares Salt's giving me, and they're different to the stares he gives me normally. Blow Girl Sniper in hand.
I even had to lean down and read the card.
Just a double. Well, I don't play much Arena, you know this.
Yes.
But I do believe the one thing I did learn at this card, and I learned this from Hafu when I watched the stream, this card is apparently, or was, I don't know about today because of the standard rotation, but apparently was quite good in Arena.
It is. It's actually very strong, yeah.
So all I did was my next Arena I just picked every Blow Girl Sniper I could and was like, Hafu said it was good, okay, like it must be alright. But yeah, this is akin to the list we were looking at today. The Lomas list that played more Murlocs.
Did that have Spike Ridge Steed in it, though?
I think it
had one,
yeah,
right? And it had double Blessing of Kings.
So I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but there is lists knocking about that have more of a Murloc focus than just the War Leaders into the...
Sprint, Vanish, Thistletea.
What? It's Firebat signaling to us.
Firebat holding up his finger. I think he might have just briefly forgotten about the fact that he'll be looking at Rogue cards right now and not Paladin cards, because 111 is actually fairly likely to see from Paladin. I don't think it's even possible from Rogue. Is it like Hallucinations, Sinister Strike, Deadly Poison? No, it could happen. Yeah. All right, fair enough.
Said it's 6/6/7, and also I heard Thistletea might be good if you get it for free in this rogue list.
Well, I heard Vanish might be good if you're currently facing down a lot of damage and don't have any bounce effects in your hand for your Glacial Shard.
I mean, reasonable. Yeah. You just Thistletea into the Glacial Shard. Second one. Easy. Yeah, just go for the Vanish, pretty steady. And interesting is we'll see Firebat's reaction if it gets that far. In terms of if he reacts to this Vanish being coming out from the Ivory Knight. But there's already 9 damage. Plus another 4, so it's 13. Do you just put him to... Do you ever just put him to 2?
Let me think.
Wait, where are you getting the 4 from?
The +2/+2 from War Leader. The +2 from War Leader.
Oh,
hang on, no, I'm talking... Oh my god, okay. Doesn't matter. Aldor is not a Murloc.
Right. Because it's
for
3,
some reason, because it was green, I was just like, oh, it's another Murloc.
He can War Leader and blow Gil face, so it's 3 in the end.
Yeah, it's 3. I still think going aggressive at this point might be reasonable. Maybe Spike Ridge Steed is a better answer, but I do like getting the value from War Leader while you can.
Tyler can't quite believe it. This has been a pretty miserable draw.
Oh my god, please float. Yes! I want to see Tyler's response.
Boom!
Oh, he's just seen it all before?
Take it for 1, son. Now, Vanish is available. Glacial Shard can be played alongside the Vanish even without the prep. And there's really not a great deal of value here to be even using the Vanish because, to be using the prep with the Vanish because nothing else you can play really gets any upside from hitting the board first and then getting bounced.
You cannot stack prep either, so you can't prep vanish into the Ivory Knight again to try and heal for a bit more. But yeah, this is going to be super awkward here. And the problem is, if he vanishes this board, well, there's just Wall Leader, Vilephin, Blowgill again.
Yeah.
Same problem is going to be the issue here for Tyler and for Team Netherlands in general. Obviously, we can see that there's Spirage D to follow up with that, and good old Tyrion as well. And currently with Tyler on 4, this is a bit of a nightmare. Bear in mind, Tyler should be on -2 at this point. He did get the Ivory Knight into Vanish to get healed for an additional 6. So, you know, he's already took a hell of a lot of damage early on.
Okay, so he's going to prep here. There's, like I said, there's no value in terms of committing minions to the board first to get them bounced, but this does allow him to play out a couple of minions now for a bit of initial tempo to be able to contest the board state that will come out from the opponent.
Yeah, this is a very tough Stonehill Defender. High value card in itself, but where do you want to go here? You can go 3, 4, 5, 6. You could just play all the Murlocs out. You can Blowgill the 1/1 off and still play all the Murlocs. That seems reasonable. It's a big ask for the Rogue to deal with all 3 without taking damage.
Yes.
It's a big ask. And especially if one survives, even if the one doesn't have direct lethal, you have Spirage Steed. Or Tyrion next turn. You know, like, you do kind of end the game over the course of the next 2 turns here.
Yeah, I wonder about the merits of having this this Vilephin on the board right now, because basically, you know, Tyler has put himself in a position where if he draws a bounce next turn, he's in really good shape. He can go Glacial number 3, bounce the Glacial, play Glacial number 4, prep the quest, have charges in hand to react to the board state. So knowing that he's bounced a Blowgill, he knows that at least half of this gets dealt with straight away. So at best, he's getting hold of 1/5/5 on the board for the potential sacrifice of a big 5/5 taunt that he could have in the late game. And yeah, Firebat, I think, is just going to go with your play here of just loading up as many Murlocs as he possibly can. And this is going to almost have to be a bouncer here for Tyler. He's in serious trouble. That is not a bounce. And now he's just facing down lethal once again.
He can survive, right? Oh, okay, he's going for a different play. He could have Glacial, he could have tanked 3 from the War Leader, deckhand into the 4/2, Glacial the 3/4.
Sure.
But yeah, that leaves you on 1 damage. Jade, Shuriken, Sap, Mimic, Pod. Well, he can't play Mimic Pod. Well, he could with prep, but it doesn't open up much.
So he's currently on 4, I believe. So Sap would heal him up to 6. He can then sap one of these minions off the board. Sapping the War Leader wouldn't really do anything. Actually, he can sap the War Leader and trade the 1/1 into the remaining 2/1 that will be the Blowgill Sniper, right? Take some damage off the board that way. That would theoretically keep him alive.
Maybe. God, this is tough. Took the Mimic Pod to heal for 3. You're gonna prep it out and just go for it. Well, what can he draw?
He can get Shadow Step off the Mimic Pod, play
Not got much time.
Play the shard, Shadow Step the shard, hit the shard, etc., and then have the quest activated still with, I believe, 1 mana spare for a Charger to come down at the end as well.
So all this is going to happen. Mimic Pod was into Mimic Pod, but now there is just good old-fashioned Tyrion.
Yes.
Tyrion hit for 1 game. I have to be worried about Vanish, I guess. But, yeah, it's Tyrion. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know there's a Glacial Shard in hand, but if you know that if that Glacial Shard is committed and not bounced, then that's probably game for you anyway, because they've broken up their quest chain.
Going for a slightly different
But
play,
yeah,
go
like,
wider on the board.
even on that regards, like, I think just having more minions like this is more beneficial to you than just having one big minion in play that your opponent can hit with that Glacial Shard that you know he has. There is the Shard, so okay. Shard number 3, bounce Shard number 3, play Shard number 4 is 4 more mana from this point. So that leaves him with 2 remaining. He already used the prep on the previous turn, which means he cannot make 5/5s this turn.
And what's important here is, although the other minions are 3/3s, Tarim is 3/7, which means if one minion can attack this turn with Spirage Steed, it's going to be game.
Yep. Got no choice though. He does freeze 2 minions in the process with the Glacial Shard. He'll have to freeze the Murlocs and not the 3/7 because he knows there is the threat of Gentle Megasaur and War Leader to come out, as well as just Rockpool Hunter if there's another one in the deck from Firebat. So the Tarim is the much more difficult minion to be able to do that 1 extra point of damage with. And he's just going to do what he can here, bounce the minions, get the quest completed, if not have the mana to activate it. And now Tarim is going to be looking for 1 extra point of damage, and that 1 extra point of damage is certainly there in the form of the Spike Ridge Steed.
Yeah, also as well, even imagine if that was a Shadow Step, you could have actually bounced him enough times to play it again, if the Brewmasters were Shadow Steps. But the problem is that even with that, the one that's just 1 turn you buy, Firebat still on 30 life, this card's a true silver. You know, there's so many cards that do it. Firebat chucked into himself and he takes the first get. Most importantly, and it does look like it's going to be the old aggro druid with Murlocs versus the old Murloc Paladin from Theo. Suddenly, Hungry Crab is looking like a good tech choice.
It's looking like a really strong tech decision, yeah. Hot Meowth gonna full mulligan the opening hand, no surprise there at all. Hits the Nightmare. Murloc War Leader, not a strong card individually, not something you're looking to draw. It's something you're aiming to pull from your deck from Finger. Patches, of course, you all know the story. Miserably bad card. Again, not something you're looking to draw, something that you're trying to summon from your deck with the early game Pirate, which is of such great benefit in this deck in particular because it's essentially just a free minion that gets caught in an early game buff effect.
Yeah.
You know, you pull Patches alongside your Bloodsail Corsair on turn 3 or 4, suddenly there's a Power of the Wild or a Mark of the Lotus going with it, and you're just suddenly representing a ton of pressure.
Yeah, whereas, you know, that pressure may be just thrown back in Hot Meowth's face at this point as well, because there is a pretty good opening here from Theo with the, the Valfin into, you know, even just coin Stonehill at this point to create enough of a speed bump, and then Consecrate to follow up as well.
Yeah. Instantly contested is Patches by that 1-1, but now the hand starting to look a little bit more promising, particularly if there is a certain Finger picked up on the next turn. Innovate Finger on 3 means that the potential 2 Murlocs can get drawn, 1 War Leader and 1 Bluegill that are remaining, and then another Bluegill or War Leader can be used to follow that all up if needs be. Hot Meowth just going to re-establish board neutrality here potentially, or just take the swing turn and just value trade in with the Power of the Wild here. This is a strong decision for this aggro druid deck because if you lose the board early, you don't fight back. You need a platform to work from. So it wasn't the most fantastic Power of the Wild you're ever going to see, but it was probably a necessary evil just based on the 1-3 contesting that 1-1.
Yeah, and this 1-3 in the forms of the Vilefin is not like Finley used to be. Right, you know, it was it's not just a random Murloc guy that happens to be a 1-3. We saw what Kalento did early in terms of snowballing the Murlocs as Paladin. You need to remove that out as much as possible if you're being the aggressor. So I actually do like this play, and now the War Leader is going to get even more value with this patch just being able to clear up this Murloc and then continue to pressure. And now Mark of the Lotus will push the minions instead of the patches out conk range as well.
Yeah, that is just 5 more to the dome here. Consecration is less than perfect. True Silver can take care of the War Leader, but still that means a lot of damage is potentially being pushed through in the meantime. So not the easiest solution in the world for Netherlands right here, but they're saving grace, and the thing that they'll probably be repeating to themselves over and over again right now is, come on, he's burned through his entire hand already here. Let's just, you know, beat these 1 or 2 cards that he has for the remainder of this game, and then we should be able to take control. We have all the tools. We have a small taunt, we have True Silver to take care of things, we have double Consecration to be able to deal with wide board states, to be able to deal with a living mana top deck even, which is always one of the big question marks for how this deck can get the job done after it hasn't had the most incredible start.
Yeah, double Consecrate is huge because that, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've seen any list that plays Soul of the Forest, like realistically.
I think at one point, Racy posted a list that was running it. I think I literally saw it once, but yeah, I would not argue extensively with that comment. It just doesn't really get run.
Yeah, exactly, and then suddenly the game is very much you clear the board once, then you're feeling pretty great about life. With see, there's no cards left in Hot Meowth's hand. He's pretty much got to use what he's got available. Pushes Theo down to 13, but again, with double Consecrate, it's going to really, really help him out here. And now Tarim, not amazing yet, but going to be nice to just reduce down any further buffed minions after a Consecrate.
Yeah, because that one remaining card was Mark of the Lotus, though, it means Consecrate doesn't even do a great deal here. It just kills Patches, and then the True Silver can take care of one of the remaining 3 ones, but it could take care of it anyway. So literally, you are trading your 4-mana AoE with your opponent's 1-mana card that isn't even worth the 1 mana it cost him to play it.
Yeah, do you think we're going to see a Stonehill this turn then to maybe soften up the Bluegill if he trades into the Enchanted Raven with the weapon? Softens up the Bluegill and the Patches as well. Sorry, just softens up the Bluegill potentially. It could go into Patches hero power as well, which if you're worried about the Consecration is the move you would make from Hot Me outside, but at least it's something, and you might actually just get a 5-mana taunt for a start. It's a tough one.
Good question. I would be, these Consecrates can't really get stuck in hand for too long. We saw this situation from, was it Croatia, who died with Brawl in hand by the end of the game. These are kind of key cards that do need to get used at some point. And it looks like for now they are going to hold on. They're just going to fight for some good, old, honest board presence. And this
There's a lot of cards that win.
Savage Roar off the top is just going to end the game. Living Mana top deck, though. It's a trap, Hot Me Out. Don't play it. He needs to. It's better to force your opponent to Consecrate this turn than to just not play anything and allow them the freedom to do anything else they want to do.
You do gain it all back if it's Concrete.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and you sort of pass the turn over except there's a board clear. Sure. Whatever.
Yep.
What are the heavier hitters in the Druid list nowadays outside of Living Mana? Are there any big enough dudes? Is Bitter Tide Hydra even being a consideration?
Hydra normally isn't played in the Murloc list, where you have Findra, of course, is another 5-mana card, but there's some debate around Shell Shifter, the 3/5 Taunt or 5/3 Stealth, depending on what form you put it in. Violet Teacher is being run by some people, but primarily when you are running the Findra package, you don't have room for too many other cards like that. You really do have to play the same consistent early game package as everyone else just to make sure that you can really swarm the board effectively. Yeah, I think he just has to. Crucially now, though, many decks have started to include double swipe as well. I think people really got sick as time went on of games where you just don't quite get there with your board presence and you have no reach in the deck. None of your top decks kill from an empty board.
And also Swipe is just a good card. A good enough card.
Quite good.
Yeah. It's not like this is a bad card but good in this scenario. Swipe is just good, guys. So it's not a terrible card at all to go for reach. So the whole turn has gone and Theo has a 2/3 left. Power of the Wild is not what he's after. Sunkeeper Tarim is probably going to lock this game out.
So Hero Power the face this turn, from Hot Meowth's perspective.
Hope you run Swipe.
No, Hero Power face this turn into draw Bluegill Warrior number 2, and then buff it, and then Hero Power face again next turn is an extra lethal setup alongside the Swipe. But as you mentioned, Sunkeeper Tarim, 7 health Taunt, is going to put a stop to any of that mess, and it will just be the Swipe if Hot Meowth is choosing to run those in his deck.
Yeah, now there's even just Hydrologist into Stonehill. If he really wants to just potentially get a Redemption, a Noble Sacrifice, to just make it almost impossible for any draws to actually get him out of this game. It looks like this might be what we see. Okay, Wicker Flame's pretty good in general, can use it. Any trades go into heal, and that looks like it could be the game.
Swipe or bust. Pretty simple at this point. As I mentioned, Swipe only really starting to make an appearance in these decks. Argent Squire is about as far from a Swipe as you can possibly get. And Hot Meowth is just debating his options here. And he knows as soon as this turn passes and that Burn Bristle is alive, he is out of range even of that Swipe out if it did exist in the first place.
Yeah, this is pretty horrible. I don't know what's even left in the deck that can contend this. You've gone as far as you can go, and I feel like for me, this is my worry with this form of Druid, is that you really have to just end the game. There is nothing you've got left that pushes you out. Any heal is a nightmare if the AoE is there early on. So Hot Meowth's just going to continue to play, do what he can here. But again, this is just going to get from bad to worse as Burn Bristle can continue to gain health. The Hydrologist can even bring Burn Bristle back, potentially. Then we have Lay on Hands, Ragnaros Light Lord, game over.
So I think I like just trade with the 1/4, trade with the Rock Pool, then Tarim to get him back up to 3/3, gain yourself an extra point of health from the Burn Bristle attacking in that way. Yeah,
game.
Seems strong.
And then you can just lay on hands, rag, whatever you really feel like, because you win the game here. And it looks like Netherlands are going to even it up versus the USA team. Top Meowth couldn't quite get there with the Druid. Blood Cell Corsair not enough, especially when we've already seen patches out. Well played indeed. And now it's going to be Theo taking the win. Got to be happy there. I believe that is his first game for Team Netherlands in Hearthstone games.
And grinders do, because he has this massively successful stream to fall back on when he wants to. But when he does show up, he shows up in force. You know, we've seen him second place at Insomnia True Silver in the UK. And the looks on our faces when we realize we don't have to cast a Taunt Warrior mirror, and even better than that, don't have to cast a Taunt Warrior at all for the rest of the day.
Dog, Mitsuhide, we've just talked you up quite a lot, and you can see why. And now we see the almost signature card here for Team USA.
Yep.
The Worgen Infiltrator was a card that was part of the image, I believe, that Firebat sent to Tice in terms of his Pirate Warrior demolishing him. And I think Tice responded with his double crawler opening that he had in his HGG game. So it looks like Firebat's handed off the Pirate Warrior to Dog. And this could be very clever, actually, because pretty sure Dog is not known for his Pirate Warrior play.
It's very true,
He
yeah.
brings the weirdest stuff, or, you know, not weird, but the non-conventional stuff, right? We see Dog is quite known for Ramp Druid.
Yep.
Did play some aggro as well. Dog, very proficient rogue player as well. He made, or pretty much started off the Quest Rogue dominance in the world we see today.
Yeah.
So he doesn't really just play like, pirates, you know? So this could be a clever pick in terms of just characteristics, right? Sure. You don't expect Dog to play Pirate Warrior.
Yeah, and you can even see that from Mitsuhide, right? Like, I'm sure he wouldn't have been aiming to queue Pirate Warrior into Taunt Warrior, for example, but the Pirate Warrior pick in general up against Dog, Pirate Warrior feels like a deck that will punish Dog decks, right? But Dog right back there with the Pirate Warrior himself, and as you mentioned, seems to be the same list that Firebat was packing in Week 1 against the United Kingdom. That interesting Worgen Infiltrator just slipping into that Sir Finley Murgleton spot that's been vacated by the standard rotation.
Yeah, and we see Dog get the better end of the stick here. In terms of got him. In terms of the way this interaction, it feels like a long time ago before we explained this interaction with the Pirate Warrior Mirrors patches and the Zos First Mate, where you do want to go second because you can react to the board if you choose to.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely elements. Sometimes, you know, you'll just see players even passing on turn 1 or just equipping a raw upgrade on turn 1 when they're going first, and then just look to explode with their first pirate after their opponent has committed to the board. So you essentially get like Patch's initiative, right? You get to dictate where the trades go. Dog got to dictate here, and his terms were that I kill your minion with the weapon and then do not trade into your Patches because I have asserted dominance and you, sir, must trade into me.
Yeah, also as well, if for some reason Mitsuhide ignores the trade himself, Dog just coins out Frothing Berserker and he's like, extra damage.
Yep, exactly.
So, it's going to be a full clear for Mitsuhide, and Magic's going to equip the War Axe this turn.
Yeah, I mean, the face damage is absolutely free there. You see that Mitsuhide did end up, just biting the bullet and making the trade for him, but as you mentioned, if he doesn't, there's coin South Sea Captain, there's coin Frothing Berserker, and there's coin Bloodsail Cultist that all punish him for refusing to take the trade back. So that is literally just 1 free damage for Dog by pushing face. 1 free damage in an aggro mirror might just make all the difference.
Yeah, and I feel like this is prime Frothing Berserker real estate going on here. As, there's almost no punish to this. If Heroic Strike comes out, then great, that's 7 damage into Frothing and your turn. There is no cultist chance with a pirate because there's no coin available. Frothing is just safe now.
Yep, upgrade is about all that does it. Literally the card upgrade, or some janky play like charge a South Sea deckhand into it. Which
is still a victory, right? I think that's the benefit of you spend the coin, you have multiple 3-drops next turn anyway, and any form of dealing with the Frothing outcome is probably a net profit for Dog here. And if it's not dealt with, it's Frothing Berserker that's not been dealt with. Awesome.
Definitely no clean answer of such in hand for Mitsuhide and for Netherlands. South Sea Captain will just get demolished by the board state as he sees it already, and there's so much potential for it to get dealt with in an even more snowbally fashion based on the hand. And this hand of just piles of damage is not really what you're looking for in the Pirate Warrior mirror. You know, this Pirate Warrior mirror generally goes one of two ways, which is players just trade into each other for the entire game, and then it becomes a resource battle, who's been more efficient, who's got more value out of their trades, and then ends up with, you know, 3 cards to 1 coming down in the late game, or one player just snowballs a massive lead and is then able to just turn that into very quick face damage. And Mitsuhide kind of doesn't really have the hand to do either of those things right now, but it's closest to just being able to push face damage and end the game, so that pretty much seems like what he has to go for.
Yeah, just hand recognition there. What he's doing is playing the South Sea Caps onto the board, which is a minion that has to be dealt with, realistically. And then he's saying, well, look, Arcanite Reaper, Leroy. That's like, what, 16 damage without anything else? That's a lot of damage. His opponent's already at 21. So yeah, he's just going to go for it now. And let's see what the draw is. Oh, Kor'kron Elite. If he trades into the Frothing, he just takes 5. That 1 point of damage, oh, sorry, 1 point of health on the Frothing Berserker may as well be 3 at this point.
He does now have 23 damage over the course of the next 3 turns if he goes all face, but there are 2 very simple problems with that equation. One is that there is already 11 staring him back on the board for the next turn on the counter race. The second is that in the space of those turns, Dog gets to hero power twice, which is 1 time too many for that magical 23 number to be able to get through.
Yeah, and also as well, it's just the fact that all your damage is taunt, you know, negated to a certain extent. We can see with Cast Vision that Dreadcost is available, but you know, just Dog having 3 cards, 4 on the draw, that's a lot of options, and potentially, as you said, with 11 already on board, more he could just outburst you at this point. So looks like it is going to be the trade into the Frothing, and then say, well, you either drop weapon and the wall give into my Kor'kron, or the pirate. Either way, I'm okay. Ooh, nice. So is. God, this actually gets really close. You could just trade the weapon and the Worgen Infiltrator into the Kor'kron and then follow up with South Sea Captain. Or you could actually just go hit face, Disaster First Mate, and just play Dread Corsair and say, okay, I save the damage and keep pushing.
Right. I think 4 is a pretty scary position to be here. Maybe the double Dread Corsair is, you know, enticing enough to let you take 4 here and really start pushing the race.
It's close though, isn't it?
Right.
Really dangerous.
The problem is when when you take significant chunks of damage and commit to a hard race is that you don't really have too many ways when you're racing to play around Mortal Strike effectively, which is the thing that's going to beat you if you're trying to wall out your opponent's damage with taunts. So this is actually a really, really close decision. I think, personally, I would just trade the 3 clean on the board with the Corsair and just continue to go from there with developing the taunts on the board alongside the first mate. But this is about as aggressive a play as Dog could have possibly made, not even developing the taunt this turn, which means there is free reign for Mitsuhide to just dunk some of this damage to the face right now.
Yeah, and I think he has to at this point as well. With the addition of Deckhand and Leroy next turn, that's potentially just game if he doesn't hammer up. Even through the 3-3.
No, not through the 3-3, right? Because
the Arcanite Reaper's face.
Yes. This turn.
Oh, because he has to.
He has to swing the Reaper at the taunt to be able to push maximum
that's
damage.
He's 1 out
right?
otherwise. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he's 1 out. Ooh, God, that is when we talked about the trade the turn before.
Yeah.
We're like, this is really close.
It is.
This is that close.
Right.
1 point of damage being different here.
So yeah, if he Reaper's face, just, you know, because we kind of got to the point where we both knew what we were talking about. But if you didn't follow that at home, if he Reaper's face, he puts him down to 8. That means that Deckhand and Leroy connecting to the face would be the 8 damage that he needs. But it means if a taunt comes down, to make that happen, he has to hit the taunt with his 5/1 weapon, and that means Deckhand will no longer have charge and won't be able to connect to the face.
Or you just upgrade and play both.
Play both the bad boys.
Oh yeah. That almost feels like game at this point with 2 taunts. That's even more difficult. Leroy would have to go into another one and still open up a lot of damage. And as you can see, again, South Sea Captain got played. Good card.
Good card.
Yeah, I'm being serious. Like, look at the power on board now. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that upgrade draw was devastating.
Yes,
that was literally the best card in Dog's deck at that point. It was a 1-mana draw that saved him.
In the opening week, wasn't quite enough for him there, but definitely looking to redeem himself, at least in his own eyes, as he goes into this game. Is a good old Hunter versus Priest. Looks like, I mean, this could still be Dragon Priest, but the combo Priest actually just plays Dragonfire as well.
Yeah, of course, back tips for Tice as well. When we talked about, Radu with his repeat Dream Hacks, Firebat with his repeat G-Finities. You kind of have to put Tice into that bracket as well. There's just always that little asterisk of how the formats were so dramatically different.
Yeah.
Before the first European Championship he won was the annual European Championship of Hearthstone, whereas it was a seasonal title in the year that followed because of the way that the system got shook up. But nonetheless, that is a massive repeat performance, the likes of which we may never see again in terms of the same player just repeating on back-to-back years.
Yeah, it'll be great if we do, though, at some point. It's all on Pavel to
Pavel
win the
missed
World
one
Championships.
shot, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he got very close, but missed one. Can go for his second or third try this year to potentially make it to World Championships again.
Too busy journeying to the heart of an active volcano was Pavel.
He's now just pretty much immortal, can do what he wants. But we'll get back into this one. Amnesiac wins this. He wins it for Team USA. And it already looks like Tice is favoring the Nesting Rock lists for the Hunter. Again, we see this list, and again, always an interesting one, because I feel like Nesting Rock's great if you're expecting some form of aggressive lists. But then against more control-y decks, it just doesn't do what you need to do as Hunter. But that's a cool card. Sabertooth Stalker, we talked about this earlier, 8-2 still.
Yeah, this was the subject of your coolest of stories early on, where, oh yeah, great story, guys. I got a Sabertooth Stalker.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a story Kibler would appreciate. He's just like, I got with it and it was awesome. And Kibler's just like, yeah. I could just imagine it.
High five! Let's talk about dragons!
Yeah, he can have dragons out of beasts.
Fair
There you go. Okay, well, kind of Grandmother is an option here, but that is a huge pairing of cards. The Elemental into the free powered shield just creates an awkward minion, and suddenly, hey, Priest stuff is really cheap now.
There is a frustration when playing against Priest, because, for the longest time, you take Dragon Priest out of the equation, Priest decks have basically played 1/1-drop for almost all time. Like, they just play Northshire Cleric. So when they hit that, or in this case, when they draw their 1/2-drop and the Power Word Shield to go with it, there are so many combinations of opening hands they can draw that aren't exactly this kind of thing, that it's always an incredibly frustrating experience to come up against it. And now, if Tice wants to deal with this, it has to be something as miserable as Coin Kill Command to prevent value. And look at his hand! This is not a hand that you want to be coining with. There is just 22 mana on the left-hand side of your hand that you've just thrown away a coin.
Forget about the hand. How does he ever deal with his Tar Creeper on 3? Absolutely insane. Tar Creeper's a minion you don't really want to kill command either.
Yeah.
But now he doesn't even have that option unless he draws it. Infested Wolf, not going to be fantastic for this turn, as he did, as we said, burn the coin. Kindly Grandmother now. Hero, can't even hero power either. It's so off curve. This is looking grim, especially because the Tar Creeper's one attack does some work on this board.
It's true, yeah. He will have options for Amnesiac on the following turn. He can nudge in and Shadow Word Pain the 3/2, pair that with a Shadow Visions. He can choose to just hold back and rely on the Holy Nova to take care of the board state on the following turn as well. The options are well in the hands of Amnesiac right now, who seems to be maybe a little bit of nervous energy. He's just kind of rifle shuffling a deck of playing cards as he's talking about things right now. Free from Amber top deck, Amnesiac clearly not happy about drawing the 8-mana card in the early game. Throws out the thank you.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of weird as well. What did you think about the trade there from Tice? Because you just open up trade heal.
He was playing around Potion of Madness.
Sure.
He left the other 1/1 on the board is just a trade. I mean, I know, Amnesiac understands that and will probably accept that it's the correct play as well. He just wanted to throw out the thank you just for a bit of potential tilt factor. But yeah, obviously that gave kind of a Wind Fury effect to the Tar Creeper in that situation. But it is much, much worse for you if Potion of Madness just comes out and just takes the Grandmother, trades into the 1/1.
Sure, but the Tar Creeper doesn't kill the Grandmother anyway.
Wait, what?
The Tar Creeper doesn't kill the 3/2.
No, you steal the 1/1 Grandmother.
Oh, sorry for the Grandmother. Yeah, no, I was focused on the Macaw. I apologize. I'm just talking rubbish today. Absolute gibberish from me. Although it doesn't make much change from any other day. I'll beat you to that one, friend. But Shadow Visions is going to open up some options.
My insults are way better than that. Come on.
It was along those lines. Come on.
Fair.
So, Bind and Heal. Again, free from Amber as well. We might see a Medivh, potentially, if it's running similar to Nick Chipper's list.
Spicy.
But Bind and Heal, more nods to Lyra being in the deck, of course. Always interested to see more and more of these lists and see what really comes out, because I feel like Priest is still a long way off being good, or good enough. This version, at least. I am most impressed with Nick Chipper so far, though.
Such a naysayer. Such a hater of these Priest decks.
I don't hate them. I just don't think I found a good one. I like the idea.
I'm not saying you hate them. You're being a hater. These are very different concepts.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I don't have any haters, so I wouldn't know what it means.
Really?
Yeah. Shaman. There you go.
There is that Potion of Madness picked up that would have been punishing on the previous turn, and he has managed to get the Tar Creeper now out of range of the big Houndmaster buff. No opportunity to really punish for this. And even if the trade goes in first, that will activate the Nesting Rock's ability if he wants to go down that line. But how relevant is the Taunt buff on the 4/7? It's just mostly important just to have it as a 4/7 in this position.
Yeah, Priest isn't normally pressuring you, especially with just a Tar Creeper on the board, of course. But even in general, this list doesn't really pressure. It just negates pressure more than anything. It's more of a deflecting deck as opposed to anything else, and just outlasts you, or only applies pressure when there's nothing else to even contend with the Priest going on the board. Binding Heal is going to be pretty nice as well going forward for Amnesiac, because negating a lot of the Hunter pressure itself on minions and on his own face as well. So with the combination of Binding Heal, Holy Nova, Dragonfire Potion, and Potion of Madness, there is a lot of answers to Hunter specifically in this hand.
There is, yeah. I mean, normally the whole Death Rattle deal of the Hunter minions makes it very, very difficult for a lot of classes to deal with, but combinations of, Pyromancer for extra procs to deal up 1/1 tokens that are left behind, Potion of Madness to steal those Death Rattles for yourself. This has always been the case with Priest versus Hunter. I remember back in the day when Priest was the only real effective counter for Undertaker Hunter, Naxxramas Hunter, for example. They would slam, Houndmaster onto a Haunted Creeper, you would play Shadow Madness, the game would end.
Yeah.
The stealing effects to take the Death Rattles for yourself are just such huge tempo swings when playing Priest that it's really hard for Hunter to climb back into it.
I wonder how valid a Lyra play is this turn. Yeah, I do like this. You've seen a kill command. You've seen Ty's kind of scramble for good plays, to be honest. So I do like this. Just get the instant value with the little poke and the heal there, pushing the Tar Creeper up all the way back up to 7 again, and going a second Potion of Madness. And most importantly, this means that if the Wolf is traded, then the 1/1s become very easy to potion and then gain more and more effects from Lyra.
Yeah, so let's break down, possible answers that could answer the Lyra this turn that Amnesiac may have considered here. Unleash the Hounds does not do it. Houndmaster does not do it. Kill Command, yes, of course, but one of them has been used already. So as you mentioned, it just seems like a
Deadly Shot answers it no matter which one you hit.
Yes, that's very true.
You either hit Lyra or hit the Tars, then you could trade into Lyra. So Deadly Shot is an out, but again, it's whether you think your opponent's even playing Deadly Shot.
Yeah, and again, we saw this exact situation, I think, before, where there was a Tempo Lyra that was put in a situation where it was actually quite easy to deal with a small source of damage, but it was a disruption turn. It was into high main turn, and high main turn is very, very important. You can make your Hunter opponent do something that isn't Savannah High Main when you don't have that perfect setup to deal with Savannah High Main, then that is of great benefit to you.
Yeah, completely agree. So there's definitely no high main, no Hyena being played, so it's going to be a high main turn. Just checking out now exactly what can happen here, because there can be a Potion of Madness onto a 1/1, and then it can go into a trade into the Rock, Holy Nova. But then the trick is how you want to exactly deal with the high main. But one of those options may appear now because of the Elemental making all these plays 0 mana. Binding Heal, great card.
He could have chosen to just give up his Lyra there as a sacrifice to a potential full clear. Just Dragonfire Potion, Potion of Madness, the 2/2s into each other. But yeah, he's just looking for clean answers right now. Size Potion picked up. It is there, giving -3, and meaning that high main can now be stolen, getting it on their side of the board, which means if they can pick up some... Oh, no, they're down to 3, so Potion of Madness wouldn't get
Shadow
there.
Word Pain.
But now opens up Shadow Word Pain to be able to hit it.
Keep
Binding
going.
Heal is just another 0 mana spell to cycle here. Shadow Vision yet
Shadow Vision.
again. You thought Auctioneer was insane. Look at what's happening right now.
This is Lyra. Cards bad, right? Oh, wait.
Yep.
Seems good.
Binding heal
needs to go quick.
again.
Oh
Binding
my
hit,
God.
what is happening?
Nobody knows. He needs to really hurry up, though, in terms of queuing these. That is Shadow of Pain. Is he going to steal it
Potion.
first?
Didn't get it done.
No.
He could have still cast 3, 4, 5 maybe more spells that turn, and he started immediately, he roped, and he still had potentially 3 or 4 more actions he could have made on that turn.
Yeah, absolutely insane. He couldn't have stole the high mates -3, right?
Yes.
The high mate was 3 attack.
Yes.
So the potion's
Yeah, no, I did correct myself immediately
Oh, sorry,
after that.
I was yeah, he couldn't steal that, so the Shadow of Pain was fine. But already, suddenly there's 2 binding heals, a potion, embrace, mind blast.
Just a mind blast chilling as well.
Why not? But then even purify, haha. But on a minion that it doesn't have a live effect, you just draw a card for a free card you got anyway. That was an absolutely insane turn there from Amnesiac and Team USA. And I imagine one of my rules if I was playing this game or any game in HCG is if there's a turn like that, no one talk to me. Because imagine 3 other players talking to you about that
it would
turn.
be anarchy.
I would literally say, just you be quiet,
Yeah,
I'm doing this. And Amnesiac, more than capable of managing a turn like that on his own, of course, as is almost everyone who's going to be playing in global games. But you know what I mean? That's when communication can get very, very dicey indeed.
Yeah, and I'm just genuinely amazed by the amount of actions that would have been possible that turn. You know,
At least 3 more.
Amnesiac started straight away. There was a momentary pause kind of around the break point where the point-sized potion got hit, because that made everything particularly spicy. And then he just committed to that same line throughout, just snap playing spells as they got played, and he still ran out of time with several 3, 4 actions still available to be played.
Yep. Why not just Dragonfire this turn?
Does look like a solid Dragonfire.
Wipe the board out. The problem here is if you Holy Nova, only does 2 with no spell damage available, and that is going to make that Hyena a little bit too big to deal with.
Let's see, you could Potion of Madness the 2/2, Holy Nova, and then the Hyena would go up to 5, which is still out of range of the 2/2 trading into it. Yeah, it just doesn't really look clean. Looks like maybe it is just time for a Dragonfire Potion.
Board like this.
Yeah, and it's particularly with the Tar Creeper draw as well, because you get to drop that on curve with the discounted potion as well.
And the next turn you can just free from Amber and be like, sup.
Yeah.
A lot of options here.
Quickly.
Double Binding Heal is so safe. Like versus Hunter specifically. It's just, just the extra 10 health whenever I want it. Okay. It's going to go for the Dragonfire Potion as we explained. Nothing really stands out much better here. Tar Creeper is going to get played as well. And still a lot of options going forward for Amnesiac and Team USA. Whereas Netherlands, Highmane's a good card.
It is. One of them has already been beaten fairly comprehensively by that Lyra turn and the Dragonfire Potion follow-up, though, but this one was free. That is just a Macaw Highmane right there.
A Macaw main.
Shadow Visions again, which will probably be about the 4th or 5th copy that Amnesiac has cast this game of Shadow Visions.
So many purple cards, I'm losing track of
I know,
what
it's
this
so
point,
confusing trying to keep track of everything that's going on in that hand right now.
So there's 1 Potion of Madness, 2 Binding Heals, 1 Embrace the Shadows, 1 Mind Blast, and a Partridge in a Pear Tree. But Medivh, the Guardian, probably just the pick.
Why would you take a 7/7 over a 9/9, Raven?
Oh, I keep thinking it's in hand. Believe it or not, I've not played a lot of Amber.
To be fair, I actually did play Free from Amber a couple of days ago in Priest, and I actually just made that mistake where I just looked at something and went, oh wow, and then realized I just don't get any power.
It feels weird to discover a card that gets played onto the board, right? You know, like it's not really something we've seen until this expansion.
It's literally just pick the stats unless, it's something like Yasharaj that has a consistent effect on the board.
Yeah, so forgive me on that one. The 9/9 is probably better than a 7/7 in every single aspect, so yep, my bad. But suddenly a 9/9 with Mind Blast. Yeah, changes things up a little bit.
Indeed.
Also as well, bear in mind, Embrace the Shadows, although, Binding Heal, although you have to target a minion, not face, with Embrace the Shadows, you can do damage to yourself, but you can remove minions with it.
Yes.
So it's just something, a utility option that is there with the options that Amnesiac does have here.
Yeah. Binding Heal cannot hit face. It cannot hit the opponent's face, much like Greater Healing Potion. Things I learned. Yeah.
Oh my lord. I love that. That was so, okay. This is kind of a.
Have
this is
you
lining
met-
up to a big blowout turn.
Have you met our Lord and Savior, Holy Nova?
I think Amnesiac's going to give him a swift introduction here. It's
Hey, Mum, check out how good this turn is. Come over here.
Check it. He's going to get wrecked. Yeah, this is kind of brutal. You go for the easy trade, go for the Holy Nova. Even the Priest of the Feast, making sure he can even heal for more heals. The Ancient one, and all the way back up as well with the Binding Heal. And this is what I mean, like, look, my Priest on full health.
Yep.
And then there's still another Binding Heal. There's still a Mind Blast for some damage. There's still a Potion of Madness to steal something small. Shadow Visions to draw from the deck. Resources for days.
There you go. And this, I mean, does this finally answer your question? Because this is emphatically one of those kind of no-win condition priest decks, right? That's actually got itself into this position. This is completely dominant.
Yeah, I think I could always get the idea from a Lyra turn.
Sure.
But the way I viewed it is your deck centering around a legendary and pulling off a good enough turn.
Sure.
Seems hard to me. But the Hunter is also the matchup I can see, right?
Okay.
You have great turns, you have great cards versus Hunter.
Okay.
Paladin, Control Warrior, it seems to be like, well, how do you actually kill them
Fair
in
enough.
the long run? But here, don't get me wrong, these games we've seen from Nick Chipper, from Amnesiac, definitely a lot of fun. I can see the power of the deck, but I do believe it's the power of the deck in certain matchups as opposed to an all-rounder, so to speak.
Shadow Visions here.
That seems good.
Shadow where Death picked up. Does answer the 5/5 Infested Wolf on the board. Currently, more Potions of Madness available as if he hasn't already played enough of those this game. And he can even just start setting up lethal for himself if he really wants to.
I just wonder how good Dragonfire was, to be honest, as well.
Dragonfire, go back in with the Binding Heals again to just restore a bit of minion value.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Because he could have even used the other potion to fully clear the board, to the one ones.
Now, Shadow of Death, Potion of Madness available here,
kind of
just
the same
clearing
thing,
again.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a pretty much embarrassment of riches for Amnesiac in the United States at this point. Just kind of plodding their way, as priests tend to do, towards a fairly inevitable victory at this point. There was a Deadly Shot all along.
Wow.
There has been that Lyra that you mentioned. Deadly Shot was an answer to. Either way, no matter which minion it hit, Deadly Shot would have done the job. And the differing reactions from the two players there as that Deadly Shot finds its target tells you just about all you need to know for how this game has gone for the Netherlands and for the USA, respectively.
Yeah, not looking too great. One of those moments where you really want Rock to have taunt to just soak up a hit here. 9 damage. Absolutely insane. The powered shield going to ensure that this is almost lethal at this point. Is this lethal now?
It's one off.
Yeah, 1 off, whatever. 1 to 1. 5, 6, 7.
Oh,
yeah, you can't
embrace the shadows.
you
Yeah,
can't
he
do
doesn't
both.
have mana for the heal phase.
But next turn, he's got it guaranteed. So
Yep.
you just set up, right? You're never going to die on 30 health. You just go for it.
There's no real need to show the Mind Blast here because it fits in anyway with your turn next turn. But
There's a need to
why
show
not?
them Mind. Just assert dominance the turn before you win with Mind Blast.
yeah.
Get them. Why not? Embrace the Shadows really going to be looking good. And Alley Cat, look, you guys are cute. Not cute enough to stop the young Savage savaging your face. Well fought. He concedes. Amnesia takes the win, and United States